Something strange is happening in Jerusalem right now. Before you click away, just hear me out. Mysterious sounds before sunrise. Unusual lights over the Temple Mount. And a massive surge of young people showing up to pray at the Western Wall in the early morning hours. Whether you're religious or not, what's unfolding is genuinely fascinating. Let's break it down. Before we continue, please like this video. Let's continue. First, these sounds. Right before dawn, people across Jerusalem have been recording deep, haunting tones echoing through the city. It's 4 or 5 a.m. Everything's quiet. Then suddenly, this low humming sound starts, almost like a long note from some ancient horn. Nobody knows exactly where it's coming from. Dozens of videos have been shared on social media from neighborhoods near the old city. Officials haven't explained it. No religious groups have claimed responsibility. Here's why people are paying attention. It's all about when this is happening. These sounds only occur right before dawn. In ancient Jewish tradition, this time was incredibly significant. When armies prepared for battle, when prophets prayed, when important messages were delivered. There's even a biblical verse about sounding the alarm on the holy mountain, a wake-up call that something significant is approaching. Whether these sounds have a natural explanation or not, the timing is what's making people stop and think. But the sounds aren't the only thing. There have been reports of a faint light appearing above the Temple Mount, again, right before sunrise. This wasn't some dramatic beam from the sky, a subtle pale glow that hung briefly. People watching live streams of the Western Wall spotted it. Cold air can bend light strangely. City lights reflect off clouds. Low-light cameras create weird effects. But it's the context that has people talking. This wasn't at noon or sunset. It was during that same mysterious window, right before sunlight breaks through. Throughout the Bible, light before dawn has always carried symbolic weight. It represents presence, the sense that something is drawing near. Quick question: have you ever experienced something you couldn't explain? Drop a comment below. Now here's the third thing happening, and honestly, this might be the most significant. Prayer organizers and local community leaders in Jerusalem have noticed something remarkable. There's been a massive surge in young Jewish people showing up at the Western Wall in the early morning hours. We're not talking about the usual crowds during holidays. These are mostly young people in their teens and 20s, arriving while it's still dark outside. And here's what makes this unusual. Many aren't from traditionally religious backgrounds. They're not wearing traditional clothing. They're not being told to go by rabbis or parents. They're just showing up on their own. From what observers are saying, there's real intensity and purpose in why they're coming. They're arriving specifically during prayer times called Selachot, special prayers traditionally said before dawn. They're praying in the quietest hours, when there are no crowds, no cameras, no distractions. Just them, the ancient stones, and whatever they're searching for. Now, if you know anything about biblical prophecy, this is significant. Ancient texts talk about a generation returning to seek God in the last days, not because they're forced to, but because something inside them changes. One prophecy mentions God giving people a new heart and a new spirit, not through dramatic signs in the sky, but through internal transformation. And that's what makes this different. You can debate the sounds, you can explain away the light, but you can't manufacture genuine spiritual seeking, especially among young people who have every reason to stay in bed at 4 a.m. This isn't orchestrated by institutions. It's organic, it's quiet, and maybe that's exactly the point. All right, let's zoom out and look at the big picture. We've got 3 things happening simultaneously. Unexplained sounds at dawn, strange lights in the sky, young people returning to prayer in unprecedented numbers. By themselves, each could be explained away. Random noise, weird weather, a cultural trend. But together, they're forming a pattern that's hard to ignore. And if you've studied biblical prophecy at all, you know that God often speaks through patterns, not single dramatic events. Throughout Scripture, there's a specific sequence that shows up again and again. First, there's a call, like a sound that wakes people up spiritually. Then there's a sign, like light breaking through darkness, a message that presence is near. And finally, there's a response. People preparing their hearts, turning back to seeking truth. That's exactly the sequence we're seeing in Jerusalem right now. A call, a sign, a response. Now look, I'm not predicting dates or claiming I know exactly what's coming. Jesus himself warned against that kind of speculation. But what he did encourage was awareness, paying attention to the spiritual season, not just calendar dates. And when you look at these events through that lens, they start to feel less random and more intentional. So what does Scripture actually say happens before God moves? In the book of Isaiah, there's this command: "Arise, shine, for your light has come." But here's the context. This isn't said when everything is peaceful. It's said when deep darkness covers the nations. The call to stand up comes right in the middle of everything falling apart. That's a consistent pattern. Dawn doesn't come after problems are solved. It breaks through while chaos is still happening. Jesus said something similar. When talking about end times, wars, disasters, fear, he told his followers, "When these things begin to happen, stand up and lift your heads, because your redemption is drawing near." Not when it's over, when it starts. These signs aren't about setting dates. They're about recognizing a spiritual season, like seeing storm clouds gather before rain. You can sense when something's coming. Before God moves, there's always preparation. Not mass spectacle that forces belief, but individuals choosing to turn, choosing to seek, choosing to be ready. It's never about fear or obsessing over headlines. It's about spiritual awareness, being awake while others are still asleep. So here's where we actually are. These signs aren't screaming for attention, but they are asking a question, not what's happening out there, but what's happening inside of you. We're in a pause, a still moment. The sky hasn't changed yet, but something feels like it's about to. Jerusalem is waking up, and maybe it's time we did too. Not to run around in fear, not to obsess over explanations, but to be ready. Ready in heart, ready in spirit, ready to walk toward truth when it reveals itself. The dawn isn't here yet, but it's not far away either. Stay awake, keep watching, keep seeking. Hit that like button if this made you think. Subscribe for more content exploring mysteries and their deeper meanings. And tell me in the comments, do you think something significant is happening? Or is this all coincidence? Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.